Part 14. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 133. This is a 4-ring spell. Ziwei has not had time to master, but Zero has completed the analysis of this spell. Under the subtle manipulation of her spiritual power, the dark blue ice instantly enveloped the blue wolf. The whole person was the ice is enclosed in a cage made up of ice. At the moment of being frozen, the blue wolf still wanted to resist, but it was hit by a strong vertigo that was immediately followed by 11 Wei. The mind was dizzy and the last chance was missed. This is the tragedy of a warrior. Ziwei used a textbook-like operation to give a lesson to the apprentices behind him. How to defeat a 5th-order warrior who has entered the paradigm as a 3rd-order magician. For all professions, magical things are the treasures that can greatly enhance their own strength. Although the young wolf is young and promising, the 19th grade advanced 5th-order warrior, except for the hand-built blacksmith who specializes in master class. In addition to the steel long knife, there is no magic thing in his body. Such a warrior is obviously very weak in the face of the master, and will always be easily played on the palm of his hand. Manipulating the master's hand dragged the frozen ice of the blue wolf onto the transmission array. A white light flashed, and Ziwei entered the underground chamber with the blue wolf. Elemental shackles. The magic energy is provided by the sufficient energy in the element pool, forming the shackles of the elements to imprison the enemy, making it impossible to escape. Obviously, this young high-ranking warrior is a very prominent person among pirates. He is likely to get a lot of information when he is captured. However, Ziwei did not have time to torture. He immediately transferred to the transmission tower of the 3rd floor of the tower to remove another intruder. At this time, the battle in the high tower has also been heated up. Yang and Charlotte are at the forefront as the mentor. They have already blessed the mage armor and can barely bear the opponent's melee attack. However, pirates are warriors with very rich combat experience, rather than the target of arbitrage. In this small space, many spells can't be displayed at all, and they create too many opportunities for each other. In a panic, an apprentice was cut off by the other side. It was the unlucky Ida. Although he gave the other party a strong vertigo before being hit, the knife was still squatting on Ed, pulling a huge wound in his abdomen. The youngest Freya in all of them did not panic. She stood on the high steps and calmly aimed at the front of the assault. The white fingers buckled down and an arcane missile hit directly the enemy's head. Yang exerted his full force at the crucial moment. The intensified frozen rays of the two palms were just like two wind-making machines. A lot of ice and snow spewed out, and the soldiers who were still braving the flames could not stop moving back. Charlotte quickly solved his silk scarf and squatted on Ed's abdomen to stop the blood from flowing out. At this moment, Ziwei descended from the sky, and the elemental magic book in his hand flashed blue on the surface, and a blue cold wind spurted out, completely condensing the group of soldiers into pieces of ice sculpture. This is the magical use of the elemental magic book as a powerful magical object. You can instantly apply one spell to each of the 4 elements of the caster's own, without consuming the spirit and magic of the caster. Of course, the maximum is only supported by 5-ring spells. You have done a good job, Ziwei nodded with satisfaction. The right-hand index finger flashed on the starburst and slowly passed over Aid's abdominal wound. The wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Although it looks terrible, in fact, Ed is not a deep knife, but the wound is relatively large, and even the intestines are not exposed. You return to the 5-story round hall. Meet the Windschell mentor. In addition, find the ropes and chains, and tie all the people together. Ziwei arranged things, gently from the window jumped below the tower. The battle that now belongs to the tower has come to an end, but Natalia is still facing the offensive of a master warrior. As a mid-level magician, his casting distance is really limited. It is impossible to help the Natalia and her knights fight far away. Ziwei jumped off the tower and looked at the storm in the battlefield center for the first time. However, The afterglow of the perspective saw a tall white sail on the sea level in the distance. Especially the sails on the first battleship are 67 meters high, which is definitely the giant ship in this era. There are new forces to enter. Ziwei was keenly aware of the changes in the situation. These ships are definitely not the ship of the sea-hungry wolf. At about the same time, the sailors who stayed on the hungry wolf ships at sea found the powerful fleet for the first time. He blew his horn, screaming and screaming, almost overwhelming the battle on the battlefield. Sea Wolf King Cook, you are the most powerful opponent I have encountered so far. The storm stopped, Natalia pushed open the visor, her mouth was slightly smiling, her face was extraordinary, a relaxed look. It seems that I was just doing warm-up exercises. Natalia, is it? Little girl, you are very good. At this age, I have not seen such a powerful knight. Captain Cook looked at the long knife in his hand with a regretful look. Old friend, unfortunately, today you can't let you drink blood. Tulips? Whose flag is this? Natalia asked with a smile, as if she was pulling home. Catalina, the red-haired queen. The chaser of the deep-sea horn. Captain Cook spread his hands and shrugged his shoulders. Can we cooperate? Having said that, he suddenly shouted, all stop. Red-haired crazy girls are chasing. A red-haired madman let the pirates who had just thawed from the horror of the cold wind and the heavy armor, who had been miserable by the cursed curse, all stopped. To be honest, the people on both sides just played ugly enough. When they were frozen, they were weak, and they were weak. It was like two groups of old hooligans playing in groups. The knights returned and gathered behind Natalia. There were 52 people in the war, and there are now 47. The 5 dead knights and their mounts were returned by the pirates. Natalia's face became very dignified. She performed a very solemn and ancient meaning to the 5 bodies that were placed in front of the word. Military ceremony. This military ceremony means that Natalia will not only take care of the whole family of the 5 sacrificial knights, but also be responsible for cultivating enough good heirs for these 5 knights. This means that it may be 3 years and 5 years, perhaps 10 or 20 years, or even 30 years and 50 years, until this family has a new knight. This responsibility is over. We return to the tower. You can borrow it anywhere else. Ziwei has come over, he said loudly to the Sea Wolf King. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest and fastest, the most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 134. Each magician's heart lake is unique, and each magician's spells are also with a distinct personal style. The higher the level, the more so. Many times, you don't need to see the caster yourself, or even just look at the traces of his magic to recognize the caster's identity. At this moment, Ziwei is a bit too young, but the strong elemental smell that he has not dissipated proves that he is the master of the Master Tower, who ended the pirate offensive in the continuous execution of the tower. Mr. Silvermoon's caretaker, Thomas asked far away. Ziwei is looking at the first high-ranking magician who came to see the world. The body is awkward, the face is distorted, and looks like an old bark. It's terrible. This is the look of the mage who studies curse spells and necromantic spells. To be strong, more beautiful. This is the violent aesthetic in 11 Wei's heart. He will never let himself fall to the point of this old master. Thomas's heart is really desolate and desperate. When he was young and handsome, he was promoted to the official magician early. I don't know how many beautiful women are spinning around. It is a pity that many years have passed, and he has been concentrating on the practice of magic. He is already buried in the earth. In order to practice magic, I gave up everything. In the end, I met someone who is so glamorous and so young and similar to myself in magic practice. It's not fair. Ziwei did not intend to talk to the Sea Wolf King. He went to Natalia's side. A 3-ring spell removing magic dispelled the group weakness curse on the knights. Flashing, Yin of the Silver Moon has been photographed in Natalia, still standing still. It's not that Natalia doesn't want to move, but she is now at the limit. Reluctantly standing here and not moving is already doing everything in your power. Accompanied by Ziwei, Natalia, and a group of knights returned to the tower under the gaze of the hungry wolf on the sea. Under the tower, they were blessed by a group of blasts and entered the tower through the second-floor observatory. Just disappeared into the pirate's field of vision, Natalia's face was white, and a dark red blood sprang out. The original straight body was soft, and she fainted in the arms of Ziwei. "Missy! Master!" the loyal knights gathered around. "Don't say anything," Ziwei quickly stopped the knights from panic. "Affiliate Boa, you and I will bring Miss Bonaparte upstairs. I will treat her. Natalia's plate made of stainless steel is very heavy. If it was a blessing of floating, Ziwei was stumped just now. The Ant of Boal is a silent man. He is also the most trusted person of Count Bonaparte and Natalia. When Natalia fainted, Boar was undoubtedly the backbone of the knights. Boal raised Natalia and followed the west of the tower to the 6th floor of the tower. He expressed his support for Ziwei with his actions. Putting Natalia on a soft bed, she untied her whole body armor. In this hot summer, she only wore a pair of close-fitting cotton clothes, and her body was wet with sweat. The petite body twitched slightly. Obviously the waves seem to be cloudless in this battle, but it is definitely a fierce battle. Cleaning, this is a ring spell developed by a mage who doesn't like washing. It can clean all the dirt and sweat on a person and return to the most refreshing state. Although this spell does not have combat power, it is an important spell that every mage who loves beauty and loves must learn. After the cleaning, Natalia is no longer like a fish that has just been pulled out of the sea. Ziwei carefully activated the silver moon, a faint star shining, treating Natalia's injury. However, 5 or 6 silver flashes, like a mud cow into the sea, Natalia did not have a trace of recovery. Apparently Natalia's injury has far exceeded the healing power of the second ring spell Silver Moon. 11 Wei's eyebrows wrinkled, and his hand was gently placed on Natalia's white wrist. This is not the case that Ziwei is seeking and asking, but Zero can only analyze the situation in other people through the way of physical contact. Boal stood firm and loyal, and his face was firm and rock solid, but at the moment anyone could see the anxiety in his eyes. Almost every bone in the body is broken to varying degrees, some muscles are no longer stuck to the bones, and the injury is very serious. After a moment, Zero said the conclusion. Such a wound in the 35th century AD is simply a minor illness of cold and cough, but for the ordinary people of this world, such a situation can only go to see the glory of the Lord. Even if he survives, I am afraid to stay in bed. Life or a lifetime. Is there a way to cure it? Ziwei's hand holding the girl's hand is getting tighter and tighter. Natalia in the coma seems to put down all the responsibilities and pressures that she bears. It looks so quiet, even more than the sleeping beauty in the fairy tale. More beautiful. You can fine-tune and reshape your bones, but you need to stimulate a lot of cell regeneration. You must have a high level of magic to heal. Then we will prepare the Silver Moon ceremony to increase the intensity of the Silver Moon's spell. Ziwei made a decision without hesitation. Natalia is the young lady of the Bonaparte family. She was trained to the intensity of the 5th Order Blood Knight at the age of 17. This time, the 2nd Order and the Sea Wolf King who has been certified by the Master is undoubtedly fulfilling the contract signed by Ziwei in Blue Fort. Even though Natalia is a talented person, the Master of the Master class is almost the most powerful group of people in the world who often walk in the main plane. Soft water swordsmanship has helped Natalia to support it for so long, but the huge gap in strength and skill has made Sea Wolf King undoubtedly occupy the upper hand. Moreover, Sea Wolf King Cook used the technique of swinging on every knife. Although he couldn't see anything at the time, his power had secretly invaded Natalia's body, and her original strong bones. Breaking, muscles are shaking. If it is not another pirate headed by the Red Hair Queen, even if it is 5 minutes in the evening, it is likely that Natalia will be fragrant. Yes, the Bonaparte family and Ziwei signed a contract, but how many people will fight for a paper contract? If Natalia is facing the master of the sea turtle, the Sea Wolf King can dismantle the tower without protection. Is this the principle you insist on? The stunned Missy and her sister Meryl are generally weak, and the faint eyebrows are no longer like a sword, but they are slightly curved, just like a new moon. The skin that loses blood is delicate and jade, crystal clear. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 135. Silver Moon Ceremony. You can cast a series of Elness Blessing spells in 2 levels, or you can increase the level of a series of spells of Elana Blessing. This powerful effect is not unlimited. In the original legend, the Silver Moon Ceremony can only be performed on the moon that is the only one moon in each month. At other times, the interval between the 2 Silver Moon ceremonies is at least 1 month. Ziwei just used the growth of the Silver Moon ceremony to display the 5 ring spells. The star attack has eliminated the horror ghosts. Now it is necessary to display the Silver Moon ceremony. Ziwei will undoubtedly have to pay a very high price. However, the cost of curing a new injury is minimal, and not to mention the powerful strength of the outside waves, Natalia is already the strongest strength of her own. If not immediately cure Natalia's injury, with the lapse of time, the cost of complete healing is even higher. 11 Wei picked up Natalia's small body, and his body was soft and soft. Boel did not say anything, like a shadow behind Ziwei. Once again through the transmission of the array, Ziwei and his party came to the top of the tower. Sea Wolf King Cook has organized the pirates to return to the ship. Nervous and not far away, the red-haired queen pirate is facing. Ziwei's station is set at the core of the Polylings, and Natalia is slowly placed in front of him. Ziwei and Zero once again spiraled in a double helix and launched the Silver Moon ceremony. Every time the more order cast is a great load on the west, this time is also not surprising. The Silver Moon has not come, and the head of Ziwei has been swelled and the pressure is about to explode. The heart of Ziwei's heart lake has once again experienced severe tremors. If the new 4 elements are so harmonious and firm, I am afraid that Ziwei will once again be hit hard. Finally, when Ziwei's forehead had a lot of sweat, and when it was crumbling, Ms. Yinyu finally responded to the call of Ziwei. The night is open and the Silver Moon is coming. Obviously, Ms. Yinyu seems to have expressed dissatisfaction with Ziwei's disregard of the continuous use of the body. But at this moment, Ziwei couldn't think too much, and he quickly started to push the Silver Moon spell. After the increase of the Silver Moon ceremony, this time in the West Wei Palm is no longer a faint star, but deep into the ultimate blue nebula. This is a rare astrology in the Orient continent, which contains far more energy than the 2-ring spell Silver Moon, almost reached the level of the 5-ring healing magic. The gathering of the energy-enhancing array has once again increased, and the spiral arm of the nebula slowly relaxes. The whole nebula cloud begins to rotate, and the more bright and brighter it grows. This scene is so beautiful, almost beautiful to the extreme. Even Boel, who is far away from the Polylings, has been deprived of all his attention by this beautiful nebula. However, Ziwei, who has been in the Long River for many years, has already seen such beautiful scenery. He carefully cast this blue nebula to Natalia's body. Just as the blue nebula had just touched Natalia, Westway leaned over and held Missy's right hand again. Zero, through the contact of the limbs, temporarily entered Natalia's body. The powerful life energy is generated in Natalia, which stimulates the cell growth and division of her whole body. It seems that she is full of vitality when she returns to the embryonic period. At this time Natalia was in a coma, taking over her body, taking full control of all the systems, organs, and cells in her body, and began to rebuild the damaged bones and repair other injuries. Natalia's body shines with a faint blue glow, and her body slowly floats and stops in the air. Her limbs stretched out, and her frowning brows slowly unconsciously relaxed. Zero-activated modules are all used in the highest mode, all aspects of the repair Natalia's body. Although the humans of the Orient continent have similar appearance to the human beings of the West world, there are subtle differences in the internal structure of the body, so the task of Zero is not so simple. Under the healing of this blue nebula, Natalia's injury recovered at a slow but firm rate in the full repair of Zero. What Ziwei can do is to hold Natalia's hand tightly, hoping that the other person can fully recover. Natalia's whole body bones were repaired from the beginning of the skull, and the muscles that were shaken were again tightly combined with the new bones. The blue nebula was getting dimmer, and Natalia's breathing was getting more and more gradual. At the end, she suddenly opened her eyes. Ziwei? I am here. Looking at the sky in front of him, Natalia suddenly realized that she was at the top of the tower. She just wanted to struggle to move her body, but found that her consciousness seemed completely unable to control the body. This is because after taking over Natalia's body, she temporarily interrupted the transmission of information in some of her nervous system. Now she can only grasp the part above her neck. Don't worry, Natalia, the treatment has already reached the most critical time, Ziwei comforted. I am still too reluctant. The master of the military is really not the opponent I can challenge. Natalia Shoyan Xiao like a blooming lotus flower is generally clean and beautiful. Thank you for your treatment, Ziwei. I thought I was going to bed for a while. The body repair has been completed, the current health is 99.5%, the symptoms, the body is weak, it is recommended, more rest and eating high nutrition food. There are other optional items for completion, hair removal, pore reduction, scar removal, height fine adjustment. The idea of Zero interrupted the words that Ziwei wanted to say. He hesitated for a moment, and he said, I mean, Missy, are you not satisfied with your body? Natalia apparently did not understand the meaning that Ziwei wanted to express. She squinted her head slightly. Besides being weak in the face of the masters, if you are not satisfied, it is too low. Natalia's actual height is only 1.512 meters, which is the accurate data measured by Zero. It is really short. Perhaps it is because of the practice of being a child, the body muscles are too tight, which restricts the growth of bones, but the Bonaparte family is not very tall, which is also innate inheritance. The basic project is coming over. The height is as high as possible without affecting her strength, Ziwei still told the Zero. This, Natalia is already awake, and with the strength of her fifth-order blood knight, she can naturally feel the changes that have taken place and are happening in every part of the body. Originally fighting with the Sea Wolf King Cook to the last moment, her whole body bones are like a house shattered by the earthquake, even if it does not seem to have much problem, but the inside is completely damaged. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest, most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 136. Such a serious injury requires at least one 7-ring healing spell to heal. 7-ring healing theology, only one of the Lord of the Glory who has reached the master level can be used to display. Such people have long been the cardinal inside the Church of the Glorious Lord or the chief bishop of the churches. Even with the power of her father, the Count of Bonaparte, the price to be asked to move a cardinal-level priest is absolutely tough. I did not expect Ziwei to be able to cure her almost perfectly. In fact, if the non-zero precision treatment will be greatly increased to the full power of the 6-ring strength of the Silver Moon spell, Natalia's injury can only be stabilized but not completely cured. Don't look at the 6-ring spells and the 7-ring spells. The energy gap is far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Natalia secretly looked at her body. She was pleasantly surprised to find that not only the bones of the whole body were reborn, but even the tiny wounds that had accumulated were disappeared. However, at this moment, her face suddenly became very subtle, and her sharp eyes shot like a sharp edge to Ziwei. Ziwei certainly knows what happened. Zero is completing the basic beauty project for Natalia. After 11 Wei came to this world, although he saw the beauty of the other people in the eyes of others, he did not intend to develop a relationship. This is of course because he has matured not only to look at each other's looks and body, but to pursue the phase of the soul's fit, but there is also a very important factor that the beauty here is still too rough. Although far from the various styles, such as Charlotte, which has completely cured the blood of the devil, it is already a fascinating beauty, but in the subtle degree of each cell, they still expose too many small defects. Pore, acne, freckles, pimples. Almost every point is a beautiful enemy. For the humans of the 35th century, although the genetic adjustment was carried out in the embryo, the basic beauty project is still a necessary link. Even the Federation has freely opened basic beauty projects to all citizens who have reached the extreme poverty. Natalia clearly sensed that except for her hair and eyebrows, almost all of her hair was removed from her body, followed by the pores and scars of the skin. Finally, its bone stretching. Stimulate the growth of new bones with the energy contained in the last blue nebula, and raise Natalia's height by 6 centimeters. Lifting is mainly in the legs, which is still limited by the requirements that cannot affect Natalia's combat power, otherwise it is okay to stretch to a height of 1 meter 8. After spending 15 minutes to complete all the basic beauty projects, Zero finally withdrew from Natalia's body, and Missy also restored control of the body. I am a little uncomfortable. Let's go to rest first. Missy's arms clasped her cotton underwear, her face showing a rare panic. 11 Wei smiled in a secret, did not say broken, launched the transmission of the law array will bring Miss and Boa Adjutant together to the 6th floor of the tower. Natalia was blushing and slid into her room. Ziwei shook his head and chatted with Boal a few words, then sent it to the 5th floor of the tower to appease the mood of the mentor and apprentice. Closed the door and confirmed that no one was there, Natalia carefully opened the soft cotton underwear. Seeing a piece of crystal whiteness, it is just like a newborn. Quickly put on a safari, Natalia stood in front of the mirror. As early as 50 years ago, the continent of Orient had invented the method of making glass, and the silver painted on the side of the glass can be made into a mirror. The girl in the mirror is no longer a clean and short hair. Due to the stimulation of strong vitality, the white gold hair grows so fast, and it has already fallen to the shoulders on both sides. The girl's face in the mirror is so white and crystal, every inch of skin is flawless, just like a jade statue. Natalia extended her hands, the same white as jade, 10 fingers slender, but the scars and daddy accumulated in the years of training have all disappeared. In fact, there is no such thing as a spell that can get rid of scars and daddy, but Natalia once regarded these as a commemoration of their own life history, so they have not been repaired. If Natalia was a handsome tomboy a month ago, Natalia at the moment is already a very beautiful woman. She is immaculate, and the beauty is perfect. However, a pair of swords and eyebrows seem to have been neatly trimmed by a root, slightly provoked to the 2 wings, giving her a neutral atmosphere and giving her a neutral beauty, which can simultaneously capture men and the charm of women. Really, Natalia did not know whether this change was good or bad. She used to care about her appearance and even intended to hide her beauty. Because she is the heir to the Bonaparte family, she can't marry other people. She will only find a suitable person at the right age to enter the Bonaparte family and continue the inheritance of the blood. She used to be a tomboy, and she even hated her parents for not making her a man, because the real man has an advantage over women in practicing martial arts. Being heir to the territory is also easier for others to recognize. For a long time, almost everyone around me knows her quirks. Missy does not like being treated as a woman. She will never admit that she is weak. She proved her choice and excellence with ironclad facts. 3 years ago, she was only 14 years old, and she led her own selection and training of the Guardian Knights to launch a crusade against the already flooded goblin tribe in the territory. Just a year's time, nearly 100 goblin tribes were all eliminated, and Natalia's sword in the hands did not know how much goblin blood was contaminated. Numerous people in the underground of the Bonaparte family praised Miss Wu's Wuvi, so she let these villagers no longer worry about the harvest of the crops, so that businessmen and travelers do not have to worry about the safety of life on the road. Subsequently, the footprints of Talia and her majestic knights almost traveled throughout Corsica, and the fishermen's community and troll tribes were annihilated one by one. A large number of territories and fertile land were opened up. The strength and prestige of the Bonaparte family were also climbed to a new peak. But only in his eyes is not a noble heir to the Count of Bonaparte, not a powerful fifth-order blood knight, but a 17-year-old girl. He has always been polite and polite. In his eyes, Natalia saw only politeness, appreciation, and a deep hidden pity, but no respect and approval. It was this mercy that spurred Natalia, which caused a strong emotional growth in her heart, which made her clash with him many times. She always seemed to want to defeat him and surrender him. However, until the night of Rose Manor, he played a moonlight on the stage, as if it was like a Scorpio-like piece of music, which not only shocked everyone, but also let Natalia admit that she was not as good as the other. In front of the Blue Fort, a small wooden ruler hit a soft stroke and seemed to knock on his heart. Natalia gently took her newborn hair and recalled the scene at that time. Under the bright moonlight, the blond boy said in a cloud, "If you can, I hope that you will have long hair from today." How? No one saw that the girl's eyes were flowing like water and tenderness. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 137. The girl in the mirror grows a lot taller and is no longer so short. She tried to do a few difficult movements of the forging, and it was easy to complete. It seems that the growth of height does not affect its own strength. With a sigh, Natalia took out a soft rope and tied the shawl into a single ponytail. Looking at the mirror in a completely different image from the past, Natalia could not help but make a face. In the mirror, the girl was naughty and spit out her tongue, so that Natalia couldn't help but laugh out. "I don't know how long it has been, it's never been so easy, just like a new life." However, there was not much time left for Natalia to be alone, and soon there was a crisp knock on the outside. Natalia smirked her smile and restored her usual serious face. She opened the door, and her adjutant Boel was outside the door. Natalia was keenly aware of the surprise in Boel's eyes. "How is everyone resting?" Natalia asked in a normal tone. Zaiwei Master arranged temporary accommodation for everyone, and prepared hot water and towels. "They have all been adjusted. Only the horses have a lot of physical loss today. I am afraid I can't rush out," Boel said with a low head. "Very good. Just like this, I will go down and talk with Zaiwei. The situation outside is still very chaotic. I am afraid there will be fighting." The golden guest nameplate provided by Zaiwei to Natalia is free to pass through the entire tower. In addition to Zaiwei's bedroom and underground secret room. The time has passed in the afternoon, the chefs of the tower have cooked a simple but highly nutritious lunch, and all the apprentices gathered in the round hall to eat together, and the tutors are almost all here. "It's just right. It seems that you are in a good mood." Zaiwei smiled at Natalia mysteriously. "Sit down, it's time to eat. You need to add nutrition now." Natalia had to sit next to Zaiwei, but Charlotte was suddenly inserted and squeezed in the middle of the two. "Miss Natalia, how did you change today?" Charlotte looked curiously at the Countess, who was originally a tomboy. Today, she suddenly became a beautiful woman, and she was a beautiful woman. The glory between the two made her feel a little bit in a flash. Natalia quietly smiled at Zaiwei and began to enjoy lunch without much explanation. "We are sitting here like this. There is another pirate. What if they get in?" Charlotte, who was not responded, was a little angry. She turned and asked Sci-fi. Sometimes the three forces are staggered and the situation will be more stable. Ziwei stood up after eating the lunch in the plate. I have to interrogate the prisoners and get more information. If the offensive of the sea-hungry wolf is a revenge on the blood wolf incident, then the emergence of a new pirate makes it impossible for Ziwei to realize that this is no coincidence. The green wolf being imprisoned in the underground secret room is undoubtedly the best interrogation target. The magician's method of interrogation is very civilized and very efficient. Although Ziwei has already studied it, there is still no opportunity to practice it. Through the transmission of the array to the Chamber of Secrets, the elemental shackles are faithfully observing their duties, and despite the efforts of the green wolf, they are still unable to break free. Don't work hard, unless you have all the above four elements of magic, you can't break free. The voice of 11 Wei was far into the ears of the blue wolf. The lights lit up, and the blue-haired wolf saw the blonde boy in front of him as the magician who subdued him. You don't have to work hard. I can't say a word. The green wolf sipped a sip, and went straight to Ziwei. Unfortunately, it was blocked by an invisible barrier in front of Ziwei. You don't need to speak. You don't need to cooperate. Ziwei smiled and began to prepare a less evil spell, Deep Sleep. This 3-loop spell allows the subject to fall into the deepest sleep, no matter how disturbed the outside world will be awakened, and almost completely lose control of the body. Of course, if you think about it carefully, it still seems to be used for some evil purpose. Although the blue wolf is a 5th-order warrior who has entered the paradigm, but in terms of mental strength and Ziwei, it is a little worse. He is completely unable to use the trenches under the control of the elemental shackles, so that it is easy to be the green mist brought deep sleep. Since 11 Wei has mastered the emotional magic, he has already had a deep understanding of the spell that directly manipulates the enemy with mental power. After the true intention of the 2-ring spell on the blue wolf, Ziwei began. Ask a question. What is your identity? I am a green wolf, ahead of a hungry wolf at sea, a 5th-order warrior. Why do you want to attack the tower? Because the target Fry is here. Freya. Why would it be his 3rd apostle, Freya? 11 Wei is very curious, actually not because of the blood wolf incident caused by the sea-hungry wolf. What does it have to do with Freya? She was the daughter of the legendary pirate King Francis and Milan Pearl, and Captain Cook identified the secrets and clues of the deep-sea horn on her. She is not the daughter of the big businessman Tang Wan. No. What is the deep-sea horn? Francis's most precious secret treasure. It is said that its pirates can advance to the legendary dominate the entire Golden Sea. Later, 11 Wei asked the Qing wolf a lot of questions, and almost all the secrets he knew were found. Finally, after the aging of the real intention spell, 11 Wei put a hand on the forehead of the blue wolf. Zero entered the body of the blue wolf and began to control violence. When Ziwei untied the soul contract with Zero, Zero is no longer the intelligent core that can only be confined to the West, and when others fall into a coma or completely lose control of the body, Zero can be squandered. To control this body, this time can be a moment, it can be forever. After learning about the identity of the blue wolf, Ziwei realized great value. The young wolf is a young warrior, he has his own team, and he is in charge of a submarine team composed of 6 pirate ships. He is almost the successor of the sea wolf King Cook. If you can control the green wolf, then it is equal to indirect control. The power of a part of the sea-hungry wolf. In the face of pirate Ziwei did not have any compassion, he did not hesitate to let Zero completely control the body of the blue wolf. After about 15 minutes, Zero became a cat form and jumped out of the green wolf. I have already made a backup in his body. Now he can't control even one finger, said smugly. You seem very happy. Of course, this is the first time I have completely controlled a human body for a long time. This is a powerful warrior, 5th-order warrior, Zero is obviously satisfied with the new toy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 138. 11 Wei relieved the deep sleep spell, and the blue wolf slowly woke up from the deepest sleep. He was pleasantly surprised to find that the elemental shackles that had been tightly wrapped around him disappeared, and the juvenile mage was standing in front of himself without any precaution, and spoke in a blue kitten on the left shoulder. Have no time to think about it, a godsend opportunity. He was about to get up to control the wizard, but he didn't expect his body to be completely out of control. His sad discovery, his whole body slowly stood up, walked to the front of Ziwei and took a deep squat, then kneeled down and put out his tongue to lick the other's boots. In all of this process, his consciousness has remained awake, but he has no control over his every move. Very good, you can find a chance to put him back, Ziwei nodded with satisfaction. The function of Zero is recovering bit by bit, and now it is very powerful. But in a short period of time, I can only manipulate one person. His rebellious will is still very strong. Zero jumped from the shoulder of Ziwei to the head of the blue wolf. It seems that Sea Wolf Cook has suffered a big loss. Hey, what did I see? It was the body of the war giant Tekasai. Look at the frozen land that reflects the crystal light. This remote sea area turned out to be there is also a mage tower hidden. Red-haired Queen Catalina used a long monocular to see the situation on Caprea Island clearly. Sea Wolf Cook even gave up the pursuit of the deep sea horn and came here to fight this mysterious mage tower. Absolutely another hidden. Catalina put down the telescope, hands on the thin waist. Sea Wolf Wang Yuran has not yet looked at the wind and fled. It seems that there is something he must have on the island. Karuru, about the maritime overlord Francis, do you have any omissions? Queen of the Queen. We have learned from the people who followed Francis at the last minute that he left the deep sea horn and the most precious treasure in a different space plane. The passage of this plane has been locked in the Black Wind Channel. But the key to open the channel has not received even a trace of news. The middle-aged man with an iron hook is the most loyal and most dedicated mate of the red-haired Queen Katrina. This news was also inquired after a lot of hard work, and the old guy is dead. In other words, we are getting unique news. Sea Wolf Cook cannot know, explain. So the Sea Wolf Cook got other clues. Katrina's orange-red long hair glimpsed. Karuru, if you die, who will you leave the wealth to? It must be my 2 sons, Karuru replied without thinking. Suddenly his face changed. Impossible, the 2 sons and 1 daughter of Francis died in the war. Idiot. Don't forget that Francis robbed Milan's pearl. After 14 months, he finally died. And no one in the entire Francisian power knows the whereabouts of Milan's pearl. Red-haired Queen Catalina. The more the eyes are brighter, the words are categorical. The maritime hegemon is sure to leave all his last legacy to his descendants. And the Sea Wolf Cook is at this critical moment, and he is willing to fight with the Master Tower at this critical moment. Then the child must in this Master Tower. So, let's fight the Sea Wolf Cook and the Master Tower. Karuru's face showed a distressed look. Queen, you rise too fast. Although taking over the power of the old ship owner, however, there are still many people who are guilty of your orders. As for your brother, if I can't say anything, it's a greedy and shameless beast. Of course I know. Red-haired Queen Katrina squinted, dissatisfied, and squinted her only loyal hand. Guguri also wants to get the deep sea horn. I will not give him this opportunity. Prepare a boat, I want to go ashore. This is too dangerous. Master, Karuru's face changed greatly, and quickly advised. I am a red-haired queen, a master warrior. Enough, Karuru, don't stop me. I am not fighting, but seeking a negotiation. The red-haired queen's fleet occupies another shoal on the island, just like the sea-hungry wolf and the tower. Soon, the 2 island powers of the messengers kept coming and going, and eventually the captains of the two leaders, Captain Cook and Catalina, appeared together under the tower. At this time, the tower door was opened, and the blood and gas in the body of the two masters were extremely strong. It was almost arrogant, and it was almost blinking in the zero radar. At this moment, all the obstacles were meaningless. The obstacles behind the gate of a high tower were cleared, and Ziwei and Natalia came out at the same time. "You can still stand up? It is really beyond my expectations." Sea-Wolf King Cook suddenly saw Natalia, who was fighting high spirits, very surprised. To know that he is a master of the ranks, every knife has a lot of damage to Natalia, such a serious injury, even if he has to lie in bed for half a year, it is possible to slowly heal. The other party is just a fifth-order blood knight, and the body's self-healing ability cannot be so powerful. Natalia smiled politely and didn't speak. "You are the master of this mage tower? It's really young." Catalina's eyes seemed to look like a see-through scan. Ziwei and Natalia then said to Ziwei, "You are the famous red-haired Queen Katrina? I am fortunate to see it today, and it really deserves a name." Even though Ziwei was ignorant, he had heard the legend of the red-haired Queen Catherine during her stay in Corsica. She is the illegitimate daughter of the noble sacred Norman Empire, the Marquis of Estonba. She loved to practice martial arts since she was a child. At the age of 15, her father wanted to send her to the monastery of the Glorious Lord as a nun. But Catherine, who advocates freedom, couldn't accept this dull and unchanging life. She cut her long hair and escaped from the monastery. The woman began to take a long journey. She worked as a buddy in the bar, worked as a postman at the post office, participated in thieves, worked as a sailor, and even renamed the army of the Holy Norman Empire. But in the end, her female identity is still exposed. "Although her chest is too flat, I am still a very beautiful big beauty." She was not used to control the power and kill the other side. The other party is a nobleman, and Catherine can only flee again. This time she became a pirate. When the pirates were only 3 months old, the old shipowner died in a battle. At that time, Katrina, who was already a sixth-order fighter, took over the battle at a crucial moment and defeated the powerful enemy in one fell swoop, becoming the new pirate leader. Although her daughter made many pirates unwilling to surrender to her, but soon she won the master's certificate, really sitting on the identity of the pirate king. The red-haired queen's name also spread throughout the Gold Coast. Welcome to the readers to read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are available at mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 139. In the face of the two masters of the military, but also have been murderous, have experienced a lot of people who do not know how much Rain has become a pirate king. If Ziwei is not nervous, it is a fake. However, if the two pirate kings are so sincere in the case of a single tower under the tower, Ziwei also closes the gate of the tower, then anyone can see his weakness. In this way, Ziwei's wonderful performances at the top of the tower and the battles of Natalia and the Guardian Knights all fell into disarray. The towers that exposed the true strength could only be reduced to 2 pirate kings. A piece of fat that competes for it is doomed to a tragic fate. Therefore, Ziwei can only sing an empty city plan. He once again changed his appearance, transformed himself into the appearance of the Japanese elf, put on the gorgeous costumes of the elves and the purple wide cloak. The neckline was raised high and the eyes shone. With magical aura, the magical elements in the hands of the magic book are full of brilliance, and at first glance is a powerful magical thing. The 2 pirate kings are very clear about how to judge the strength of the warrior profession, but there is no understanding of a mysterious magician, especially the legendary Japanese elf magician, even if the age cannot be used as a basis. The body of the war giant Tekasis, which has not yet dissipated under the fire of yin yang, and the death of a super fireball, is the proof of the strength of this magician. And there is also a high-ranking Blood Knight guard who is not retired by the Pirate King. Beside the Japanese elf mage, the red-haired Queen Catalina and the Sea Wolf King Cook slightly decapitated and recognized the strength of the tower. "We are all coming to Francis's last fortune and the deep sea horn," Catalina said. "I have mastered the location of the ectopic and main planes of the deep sea horn." Sea Wolf King Cook lit the cigar, took a deep breath and spit out a huge smoke circle. "I have mastered the way to open the ectopic plane." Zai Wei's face was as usual. He had already guessed the result. The two pirate kings apparently reached a short cooperation agreement. He calmly said, "People are here." "Very good. The aboriginal people of the ectopic plane also have strong strength. We all open the outer channel together. As for entering, they have their own skills." Catalina's long hair drifted in the wind. She said neatly. "That's it." Sea Wolf King Cook put the cigar on the sole of the foot, completely crushed into broken foam, "cannot see the original shape, and the ice is still intact, without a trace of deformation. Obviously, this is the Sea Wolf King Cook in this way to show his strong strength and precise control of power." "Yes," Westway nodded. Then, accompanied by Charlotte, Freya, who had already put on a new dress, came out of the tower. "This is the daughter of Francis, the tyrant of the sea," the red-haired queen, Catalina, curiously looked at the girl who was only 12 or 3 years old. She looked quiet and weak, and she was just a lady who had never seen the world. "Yes. It's her." Sea Wolf King Cook recognized it at a glance. When he was an unnamed pirate in his early years, he once saw the appearance of Francis, the sea tyrant. Although Freya is a girl, he has his father's very similar characteristics, and the appearance of the image of the Tangwan family is exactly the same. "Very good, it seems that our cooperation can be achieved," Zai Wei said. "People are still with us, each ship only has one ship." After arriving at the passage, the three parties witnessed the joint opening. "That's it, the rest time is only one night, and tomorrow's sunrise. Set sail." After the red-haired Queen Katrina finished, she headed away. "Captain Cook, are you going to enter the tower as a guest?" "Very welcome." Sea Wolf King Cook has not left, and 11 Wei tweeted in an exaggerated tone. "You seem to have forgotten one thing." The voice of Sea Wolf King Cook was a bit low. "My subordinate Green Wolf, and his gang of men entered the tower, never came out again." "Yes. The tower is a group of intruders, but it was quickly supervised by the guard system. Although we are now a collaborator. But to redeem the captives, you have to pay the price, Cook." "Captain," Zai Wei looked blank and his eyes were sharp. "Although the current Green Wolf has completely fallen into the control of Zero, Zaviva has to quickly return this Trojan to the Sea Wolf Cook, but he must play the role of a victor. I have had a huge loss. I have killed more than 60 brothers, and I have also killed the war giant Tekases. Advise you, Master, don't try to anger a pirate king, Master Warrior." The Sea Wolf King's eyes burst into red light, his breathing began to rush, and the whole person became a lot bigger. This momentum is waiting for the opportunity. The whole person suddenly became the tiger who dominated the mountain forest. Charlotte and Freya behind Zai Wei couldn't stand the impact of this momentum, and then stepped back and took a few steps to stand firm. "Hey," Natalia did not say anything, but she took the epic sword king from the scabbard. She strode forward and her eyes were full of war. Yesterday, the life of the real masters of the warriors was so good that Natalia grew up too much, and her soft water swordsmanship had a huge breakthrough in actual combat. Today, she has a good fighting ability. She firmly believes that she will never it hurt so much. This is the price that the aggressor has to pay, isn't it? The West Victorian silk does not move, and there is no flutter in the purple cloak behind it. In the heart of the West Lake, the true wind of the Qingyun Road Ling Xiaopeng waved the wings of the sky, and the power of the elements of the wind perfectly neutralized the eruption of the Sea Wolf King Cook. "Speak your request." "Master, the situation is stronger than the people." The Sea Wolf King Cook finally said the soft words. "My request is not high, 50,000 gold coins." Zaiwei does not have any shortage of supplies, even if there is no supply of Sea Wolf King Cook, so he proposed a not high price. Very good, Sea Wolf King Cook took a small tin box from the space bag. There is a whole 50,000 wealth coins. You can count it? Charlotte stepped forward to open the box, which was a neat piece of gold coins that looked golden and dazzling. After a few moments, the inventory was completed. Charlotte nodded to Zaiwei, and then applied a floating technique to the box, holding the box and returned to Zaiwei. Please come out, our guests, said 11 Wei. Yang and Ryan came out with a group of pirates with shackles. Although the flames on them had been extinguished, there were still large wounds, and the clothes and hair had no small damage, and they looked very embarrassed. The last tall figure came out. He was tall and long, and his body was filled with the beauty of strength. He was not bound by anything, and he looked clear and refreshed. His face was full of wildness, but at the moment he bowed his head and did not say a word. He is the successor of the Sea Wolf King Cook. The 19-year-old high-ranking warrior wolf welcomes the readers to read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all in mobile users. Please read. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 140. A fierce battle finally came to an end, and Zaiwei was relieved, and finally reached a temporary peace. I just didn't expect that Flea would be a descendant of a legendary powerhouse, attracting so many powerful people. At noon, the high tower was settled. At this time, Zaiwei took Freya to the 6th floor of the tower and told her about the incident and the general guess. That is, my real father was the former marine tyrant Francis. Then my brother Bordeaux. Fry glared at her eyes. She was not stupid, on the contrary she was very intelligent, accompanied by Charlotte. The moment she got out of the tower, she guessed something. Bordeaux is your half-brother. And your real name should be Fries Francis, Sylvia sighed. So I am the key to unlocking the ectopic plane, Freya continued. Yes, Zaiwei reached out and touched the girl's hair, reassured, Freya, you are my disciple, I will do my best to ensure your safety. For the legendary Pirate King's crown of the Deep Sea Horn, Zaiwei is not necessarily a must, but he is very concerned about Freya's life safety. I will obey. Mentor, the little girl nodded firmly. Have a good rest. Let's go tomorrow morning, after the sunrise, and tomorrow, I will leave the tower again. There are still many things to be arranged in Zaiwei. Freya deviated from the 6th floor of the tower, and Yang, Charlotte, and Ryan came together. Zaiwei handed a magic note that had just been copied to Yang. Here are some 1 or 2 ring spells that I have simplified or are more practical. You can learn. Yang Zhengzhong took over. Yang, at the time of my departure, if an apprentice is promoted to the official magician, then you will be ready for them to be promoted. There are 10 bottles of my magical scouring agent, which lacks a main material and may not be so good. 11 Wei said, you 3 progress is also very fast, and work harder. I hope to see you have been promoted to the 2nd ring magician when you come back again. It can be said that the breakthrough from a ring magician to the 2nd ring magician is relatively simple, just need to master a 2-loop spell. Charlotte, as my assistant, the next time the friendship number returns, all the transactions are your responsibility. The planting of the nursery is also carried out as soon as possible. Ryan, you have to manage the residents of the island. After the new building materials are shipped, first build the terminal according to the plan. 3 people who had sent away some concerns, Zaiwei fell into meditation. The plane where the Orient continent is located is the main plane of the whole world. In addition to this, there are many endless planes in the world. Some planes may be small and can only put down a fist, some planes. But it is 100 times bigger than the main plane. Compared to the understanding of the ectopic plane, the master should undoubtedly be the most knowledgeable. The magician began to touch space spells in the 3rd ring stage. The 5 rings can make space jumps and even carry out plane travel. The space barrier of this world is not so strong. Francis, the maritime hegemon, could be said to be the hegemon of the entire Golden Sea 20 years ago. He has great prestige and endless wealth. These wealth are hidden in a different position, and they are already involved in the incident, and soon a journey of ecstasy full of difficulties and challenges will begin, which is much earlier than their own plans. A three-ring mage is faced with a master of the Fourth Order Masters, and the mysterious ectopic face is completely covered in the fog. This is simply a 30-level trumpet to go to the 70th grade copy, ridiculous and ridiculous. However, Ziwei is not without a means of life. At the core of the element pool of the Master Tower, there is a magical array. This magical array is complex and magnificent. At first glance, it is a high-order magic array. Through tailing, Ziwei learned the role of this magical array, the plane recall. This is the backhand that Descartes left before exploring the elemental plane. Once in the critical situation, the magical array can be activated in an instant, and the obstacles across the space will summon themselves back into the chamber of the Master Tower. This magical array is so powerful that it can only be used once. Obviously, Descartes did not use this opportunity to save his life, so that the magic array he left in the past was still in good operation. This was tested by Ziwei in accordance with the method provided by tailing. The status quo is that Ziwei is already riding a tiger. Facing the two masters, there is a powerful pirate king behind them. It is impossible for Ziwei to offer Freya now to understand the incident. Obviously, the Sea Wolf King Cook and the red-haired Queen Katrina are jealous of each other, and they all agree to leave the most critical person of Freya. And apart from himself, no one cares about Freya's life. Once the channel of the ectopic plane is opened, it is only a magic apprentice, and she probably loses its use value completely. This situation makes Ziwei very embarrassed. He intended to farm on this remote and tranquil island, slowly develop his own magic school, and gradually improve his strength until he is strong enough to guard everything he wants to guard. But now it has been forced into a powerful torrent, and can only survive in desperation and cracks. The enemy is not a piece of iron, there is a lot of space to operate. Ziwei, what are you going to do? At this moment, Natalia came in and broke the calm. I will set off tomorrow and try my best to ensure the safety of Freya, Ziwei nodded firmly. He finally made up his mind, and there was darkness in front of him, like an abyss without bottom. But retreating can't be peaceful, and blindfolding is just deceiving yourself. At this critical juncture, only let go. What's more, you are not unprepared and dependent. Very good. Ziwei. I really didn't miss you. I have to take part in this adventure, Natalia patted Ziwei's shoulder with pleasure. I am afraid this is not possible. Natalia. This time I am going to know the ectopic face, and the other two sides of the same are powerful and evil pirates. Almost a life of 9 deaths. I have my own life-saving means. And you don't, 11 Wei quickly advised. Natalia still needs to grow up. Now she is only 17 years old. She is still a young girl. Her bright future is already dawning. Her background and blood also determine that she does not need to go to work hard. Ziwei. You can't stop me. Only the fierce battle is the fastest way to improve. Life and death can make a real warrior become stronger. In the last year, my force is almost stagnant. All this is because there is no opponent that can really be worth fighting for. Today's battle with the Sea Wolf King, although I lost, but I learned too much. I dare say if you experience 10 more times, no, as long as 5 times in this intensity of battle, I can explore the key to the Master's card. Natalia's tone suddenly increased, she said excitedly, welcome to the readers to read, the latest, fastest, most fire serials are available at mobile users, please read. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Du. Chapter 141. In this matter, Wei failed to convince Natalia that she was a brave and proud girl. She might have witnessed the excitement of a strong man who was not much bigger than himself but who had obtained the certificate of the master. Natalia did not care about the danger of the strip. After firming the conviction, Wei put aside all the sorrows and doubts and entered the sleep with peace of mind. The summer nights are always short, the sun quickly reddens the coast, and then the entire island is dyed red. Wei woke up early and was fully prepared. The Freya eye around him was a little red. It was obvious that she cried last night, but she appeared in front of Wei and she was very brave and let Wei endure. Can not live a lot of love and affection. Natalia once again put on a good armor, and today she is as energetic as ever, and her spirit is good. Obviously this is a bold girl who doesn't know what it is. In the tower, everyone walked out of the tower and slowly walked to the dock. Overnight, the original dozens of pirate ships have all been exhausted, leaving only the two pirate kings' flagship Wild Heart and Red Tulip. When the three people of Wei walked to the dock, the red-haired Queen Catherine and the Sea-Wolf King Cook stood on the deck of their flagship, and looked up at Wei. Wei did not say anything. His big robe of the robe was flashing in the sleeves, and a small boat suddenly appeared on the calm golden sea at dawn. Because the boat that sailed out to the sea for the first time was too rudimentary, Wei made a special boat after returning to the tower. It looked grey and not very eye-catching, but the hull was no longer wood, but the Zero was choosing the world. After the raw materials are extracted, the light and strong materials are much lower in density than wood, and the solidity is beyond the ordinary steel. Of course, limited to the amount of raw materials, only one boat can be completed, but it is enough. Natalia jumped on the boat with Freya jumping. The blue light flashed at the foot of Wei. His whole person slid over the sea more than 10 meters like a flying bird and landed on the ship. Since all have arrived, then let's go. I will lead the way, red-haired Queen Katrina made an order, Yunfan rose, and a new voyage began to depart. Without the drag of other ships, the flagship of the two pirate kings ran very fast, far beyond the speed of the sail ship in the Earth era, and is almost comparable to the speed of the steam engine. Wei felt the breath of the wind. It is obvious that these two ships have magical things that can speed up the speed of the ship, and they have such a fast speed. A magical object that can increase the speed of a ship that is nearly 100 meters long. Even if the magic of burning is so simple, it is definitely worth the price. After all, for every boat, every additional speed is a great help. However, no matter how the Wild Heart and Red Tulip speeds up, the grey boat behind it is always followed by a constant distance. There is nothing on this ship, and Wei uses the energy of the wind. After the foundation of the 4 basic magic elements to complete the real meditation to promote the third-order magician, Wei felt the world is very different. It seems that people who have been in 1,000 degrees of myopia suddenly resume normal vision. The original seemingly ordinary scenes have different displays and forms in the eyes of Wei. Wei also feels that he is more closely related to the whole world, and he has the taste of the combination of heaven and man in Taoist thinking. Finally, 11 Wei found a key word in Descartes' elemental magic book: the world is real. This is the key factor and key point for the magician to advance to the 5 rings, to feel the truth of the world. Everything you know about the real world will get feedback, and every bit of accumulation will eventually lead to promotion. Each magician has his own insights in this step, and the insight of this step almost determines the future direction of the magician. But this step is so difficult, it is no longer considered that the innate factors such as mental power and intelligence account for a large proportion of elements, but the test of understanding. Many talented talents have made great strides all the way to the magician without any hindrance, but I don't know how long it is at this level. I couldn't even get in for a lifetime. I took out my white hair, shattered my confidence, and finally gave up. There are also wizards who don't look so smart and have been promoted all the way. They have realized extraordinary things on this important level, and laid a good foundation for the masters and even the legendary road. The magician pursues the study of the brain and the spirit and even the soul, which is far more complicated than the exploration of the body. Because of this, the proportion of magicians is far less than the various battles, and the difficulty of promotion is far beyond. Meditation, elemental affinity, spiritual enhancement, rebuilding the heart of the lake, and insight into the real world. This way, it can be said that in addition to being promoted to the second ring magician and the four-ring magician, it is easier to get rid of countless other levels. People, so that every five-ring magician cannot be underestimated. The world that Ziwei came to, this world was too short, and there were too few real magicians. Gatlin was a malicious evil wizard. Descartes only left an elemental magic book, while Thomas was a hostile relationship. No one can communicate with Ziwei. Ziwei is not so strong about the need for new magic. On the contrary, he is eager to find a magician who can talk about five rings or more, exchange ideas and exchanges, and have a deeper understanding of the magic of the world. Nowadays, he is often behind closed doors, so that it is easy to take some detours. Zero space has a huge amount of computing power and deductive ability. It is limited by the fact that the understanding of magic is too superficial, and it is too late to actually put into full-load applications and calculations. Therefore, although Ziwei is very interested in all kinds of magical magic, at this time he can only walk firmly along the path of the elemental magician. First of all, he has a far more elemental affinity than normal people. Secondly, he has completed the foundation of the four-line meditation idea. The magical power of the element has been greatly enhanced. Finally, he has coincided with the acquisition of Descartes. The elemental magic of the high-level magician and even the magical book left by the magic master, made him a precious inheritance, guiding his way forward. All this made him a great advantage on the path of elemental magic, so he has been specializing in elemental magic since he was promoted to the three-ring magician. It is also because of his singleness that on the road of elemental magic, Ziwei has been rushing into the air and never stopped. Less than half a month after the promotion of the three-ring magician, Ziwei has mastered a full dozen three-ring spells, including Dickel's burst fireball, which is very close to the four-ring spell. In fact, the original Descartes was based on the in-depth study of this spell, and the four-ring magic blast was performed by the boat, and it was promoted to a four-ring magician. If Ziwei is willing, he can always advance to the four-ring magician along the path that Descartes has once traveled, so that he can create a new record and advance to the first level official magician level in just 15 days. However, Ziwei still did not take this shortcut. He has realized that there are still many shortcomings in his accumulation. Many times it is a coincidence that he succeeds. If he can't understand more real world and rush to promote the fourth ring, he may give himself the future is left with regret. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 142. What is the truth of the world? It sounds like a very tall one. It can use an old saying to explain seeing the micro-knowledge, or it can be understood as seeing the essence through the phenomenon. The Orient world is definitely not an ignorant and ignorant medieval world. The analogy of quantity has almost reached the same level as that of the European continent at the end of the 18th century. There is no chaotic city in which there is chaos, but on the contrary, countries that are large and small have been formed. The city is not rancid and messy. On the contrary, most cities are called garden cities due to the intervention of magic and magical power. Ziwei has only been to Ajaccio, and this city with only 80,000 people has left him a good place. Impression. And the world has the extraordinary power and magical magic that it didn't have in the past, and there are endless planes and all kinds of magical races. Here, although the system of arcane masters has not yet been developed, it has been explored only now. The news. Ziwei can imagine how powerful and wise the magic master and even the legendary magician. At this moment, the boat was pushed forward, and Ziwei did not launch any magic, but simply controlled by the wind. Among the four elements, the deepest understanding of him is the essence of the wind. The characteristics of the wind are also the most suitable for him. Among the elements that have been nurtured in the heart of the lake, Kunpeng is much stronger and more mature than the phoenix. At this moment, Ziwei can do it without relying on the spell model, but relying on Kunpeng to control the wind element and directly affect the reality. Perhaps the earliest magic is like this. The appearance of the spell model greatly simplifies the magician's difficulty in casting, but only if you can return to the original and redo this, you can gain a deeper insight into the real world. The promotion of the four-ring magician has no suspense for Ziwei, but only the accumulation of time, when it comes to the water, will naturally succeed. However, the promotion of the five-ring magician needs to be very cautious. The accumulation of this step is likely to determine the upper limit of the future. 2 large, 1 small, and 3 ships all the way to the southwestern waters. After 3 days, they have sailed to the center of the Golden Sea. They have not seen any continents or islands. On this day, it is rare that the weather is calm, the sky is blue and blue. However, at this moment, the roar of the whistle came from afar, and a behemoth appeared on the sea level in the west. The red-haired Queen Catalina's face changed slightly, and then returned to normal, while the sea wolf King Cook was instantly gloomy and dripping water, and Ziwei stood on the boat head, curiously watching the behemoth gradually appearing. The figure, full of metallic luster, and the chimney that keeps spewing smoke, is this actually a steam-armored ship? In the age of sails, such an epoch-making warship has emerged, which is really an overwhelming advantage. Gradually, the complete figure of the battleship appeared in front of everyone, with a golden double-headed eagle flag hanging from the top. This is the flag of the Holy Norman Empire. Since the Queen of Spania and the King of Austro-Hungarian kingdoms have had a wedding that has attracted attention throughout the world 200 years ago, the two powerful powers on the continent of Orient have combined to form the Holy Norman Empire. This empire is so powerful that it is less respectful to the Church of the Glorious Lord. For 200 years to suppress Europe, it can be called the world's first strong country. Catalina, I need an explanation, why the Holy Norman Empire's magical armored ship will appear here. Sea Wolf King Cook looks very unsightly. Although the Holy Norman Empire has built 12 ships of the magical guides in the past 100 years, the territory of this empire is so large that there are so many enemies facing it. They fought against the indigenous peoples of the original ancestral spirits on the mysterious continent on the other side of the Endless Sea. They fought in the Endless Abyss and demons, and they opened up new territories in the ectopic plane. Therefore, only 2 magical armored ships are stationed in the East and West Golden Seas. They usually stay in the harbor. How can they suddenly appear here? Although the Empire's navy and pirates have secret collusion and connection, without the existence of these pirates, the sea is calm, then the merchants need to enshrine the navy. But on the bright side, combating pirates is an inevitable responsibility of the navy of each kingdom. In the face of an ultimate war machine, the magical guide armored ship, the Sea Wolf King Cook has only escaped. In addition to the flag of the Holy Norman Empire, there is a red-colored silver sword and a golden shield crossed the flag. This is the flag of the eternal family of the Holy Norman Empire. This ship should be the St. Istanbul. Who does not know that the red-haired Queen Katrina is the illegitimate daughter of the Istanbul family? Sea Wolf King Cook glanced at the red-haired Queen Catalina. Apparently this woman broke the rules. The Sea Wolf King Cook is not without a backing. The naval generals of the Kingdom of Italy and the city councils of Venice and Jonas are familiar with them, but these mountains are not enough to see in front of a magical armored ship. This is the magical armored ship. The highest secret of the Holy Norman Empire, and the real ultimate weapon of war. Every ship can suppress a huge sea. This is the first time I saw it. Natalia's looked something complicated. She stood beside Ziwei and looked at the giant ship that was coming. Although I was born in the Istanbul family, this family does not have my position. I am now a pirate leader. Now facing this battleship, we should work together and advance and retreat, red-haired Queen Catalina finally spoke. Your behavior makes us hard to trust, Sea Wolf King Cook shook his head. Half a month ago, although some of the news about the deep-sea horn had been mastered in the hands, no one was sure to get it. It is for this reason that Catherine will cooperate with St. Estanba and set up a trap to eliminate the hungry wolf at sea. But this matter is not Catalina's advice and dominance, but her brother, Guguri has just taken up the post of Captain Saint Estanba, eager to make a contribution. The elimination of a pirate king is undoubtedly a great credit. But Katrina knows very well about her brother, who has the common problem of aristocracy, greed, snake-like greed. The pirate king's crown of the deep-sea horn must have been eyeing him. After the tripartite cooperation on the island of Capra, it can be said that there is no obstacle to open the ectopic plain. The deep-sea horn has been placed in front of it and can be seized at any time. In this case, Katrina definitely does not want to introduce Saint Estan, this powerful force of the Pakistani. It is for this reason that she was very happy to have a cooperation with Sea Wolf King Cook and Ziwei. And she also made some arrangements, hoping to get through Guguri, first get the deep-sea horn. However, it is obvious that these arrangements have not played a role. St. Estanba is waiting for them on this sea route. Welcome to the readers to read, the latest, fastest and hottest serials. At mobile users please read.